Friends, it is Thursday, October 12th, 2017. It's about 11:30 a.m. Good work last night during our weekly face-to-face meeting. I thought we were fairly productive, and it looks like the material that you were able to produce is largely pretty good. I did get home late last night and looked over everybody's documents or packages and then gave feedback to each group. I was using like a voice to text thing instead of typing the email, and so if there's some weird typos in there, it's because I was speaking and not typing. So you might see some strange typographical errors in there, but anyway, read the feedback that I sent you. Try to follow up on that. I'll give you a little bit of time during next week's class to put some finishing touches on those. And then if you could get them turned in to Ted and I, we will format them in a way that'll fit the rest of the packages. So read the feedback, make the changes, come to class next Wednesday ready to put the finishing pieces on that, and then we'll move on. I think, so Rachel and Isaiah, you were gone last night. If I have you work with Drew and Sam, I think, because they were just working as a group of two, and they're talking about how Iowa's changing climate impacts agriculture. So contact Drew and Sam, Isaiah and Rachel, and they'll get you caught up to speed on what we're doing. So that's last night's comments. The other thing I wanted to mention was for International Day presentations, we're going to spend next week working on those and finishing those. My goal would be that by the end of next week's class, you are ready to present those things. And so between now and the time that we meet next Wednesday, have a little powwow with your International Day team members and discuss what you need to do in order to get finished by the time we end class next Wednesday. So be ready for that. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention too, and I talked about this a little bit last night, but under discussions, be sure to participate in the politics of climate change discussion and the environmental news from week 6 discussion and the James Hansen discussion. Well, also too, if you haven't done your social media posts for the field trips, do that. The new thing is the Frontline documentary that I want you to watch and comment on. I said last night that I would embed this right into the discussion board, but I can't figure out how to do that. So I just put a link in there. You can come right to Frontline's website and watch it. And you should be able to do that right here. All right, so anyway, that's there. So watch the documentary. It's about an hour long. It's a very current event. And then your deliverable for this activity is to find an elected official that represents you. Maybe if you want to select an appointed official too, I guess that wouldn't be terrible, but try to find an elected official who represents you, either here in Iowa or back home, and then write them a letter talking about how you feel after watching this documentary. Maybe do a little bit of background research to figure out what your state representative or elected official has said or done to help mitigate impacts of climate change. Maybe your elected official is somebody who gets a lot of money from big oil or lobbyists who would like to see climate change initiatives fall by the wayside. Now would be an opportunity to comment on those kind of things. And so write a letter to your state representative talking about how you feel about this documentary. Tell them a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you're going to be doing down the road 5 years from now, and describe the role that you see yourself playing as an educator in helping to fight against this war against the EPA. So do that. Post your letter down here, and then if you could print off a hard copy of the letter and find an envelope and address it to your state rep, I will pay for the postage. And so I look forward to sending out a nice little box full of letters to state representatives from around the upper Midwest from future science educators. So go ahead and get that done. I'll give you a couple of weeks to do that. The other thing, I think I mentioned this briefly last night. I know I did because we had this discussion about the final. What's on the final? Final. So the final is going to be your lesson plan built around the question or item from the pre-assessment that you found to be most difficult. So go remind yourself what that question was. If you need to see the assessments, I put those in the Science Ed 4102, 4103 folder in Google Drive. If you're a biologist, your assessment's in here. If you're an earth scientist, your assessment is in here. So go back, figure out which question that was, and then I need you to create a short lesson plan that would allow you to teach the topic that the question is related to, and then you'll present those on the last night of class. And so we're looking at a little, 5 minutes or so presentation that describes the item that you struggled with, why you struggled with it, how are you going to teach that item to a middle schooler or a high schooler or whatever grade you think you're going to be teaching. I guess the only other thing that I would add to would be I would encourage you to explore the other groups' Iowa climate change packages. And so see what you're up against in terms of the other groups. I put them all in here, climate change packages, Iowa climate change packages. Have a look in here at your classmates. I changed the name, Drew and Sam, I changed the name of yours from Pressbook Cow to Agricultural Impacts. I hope you're okay. I did like your name, but I felt like this is a little bit more informative. So anyway, have a look at your classmates' packages and see maybe what kind of changes you could make based on what you see other people doing, and vice versa. So that would be in here. Again, we'll give you some time to put the finishing touches on these next week during class, but see the suggestions that I sent out in the email last night. And then the other thing that we'll work on next week is finishing up your International Day lesson plans. So have a meeting with your teammates and see what you need to do so that you know you'll be done by the end of class on Wednesday of next week. All right, I'm done.